Welcome back. His first 8 singles went straight into the top 10. 19 million record sales later, he retired at 27, which is probably why he still looks so incredibly young. Welcome back, Rick Astley.
How you doing, Jimmy? Hi.
Hi.
Very nice to see you.
Have we interviewed you before?
I think we have.
We have met many moons
Was
ago.
that sort of Albert Dock type
Yeah,
days?
it certainly was, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
you were still singing? Were you still...
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
As you said before, I kind of retired in my mid-20s. Glad I did, and glad that I've got the opportunity to sing again a little bit now, and yeah.
I mean, you'd say I'd say this with you sitting here, but I'm speaking for a lot of people on the team. I'm speaking for our editor, I'm speaking for Judy, speaking for a lot of people, young people, who were gobsmacked and devastated when you retired. Because you were,
Thank you.
Well, you are good. I mean, I was saying you were good, but your impact was really strong. And your voice was fantastic.
Thank you.
And it felt, I was quite gutted actually when I heard that you were definitely not doing it. I thought, oh, well, give it a few months, he'll be back. No, but really,
Thanks.
your voice, your vocal qualities are extraordinary.
Thank you.
I know you've told this story loads of times on the circuit. We'll talk about the tour in a second. But what was that tipping point when you thought, you know what, I'm going to stop this?
I think it was a number of things. One of which that we have a 17-year-old daughter who at the time was 1, and I missed her first steps, which a lot of dads, a lot of mums do, especially these days now with everyone working so hard and everything. But I just kind of felt that I was missing out on certain things, and obviously I'd experienced a lot of things that people would never get to experience. I understand that, but the real side of things, from being, let's say, 18 and 19, or even possibly younger, and being in bands with my friends at school and stuff, I hadn't really experienced any real life. Gotcha. And I was kind of seeing my real life in glimpses, and then going off and promoting records and all the rest of it. Yeah. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't swap with anybody with the life that I've had, you know. But
no.
It was.
But you do see it, don't you, now with young pop groups? I mean, in the end, it all seems that, especially the bands, the exhaustion seems to get to them in the end, and they either break up, they fall apart.
Yeah, but in certain ways, I think it's probably tougher today than it was in my day, because there's a lot more media today, and obviously we have the internet now, Tinternet. Yeah. We have the internet, so it's kind of. I think it's tougher in certain ways. I mean, having said that, I was a solo artist, and I think that's really tough as well. Yes. I've been in bands with my friends when I was younger, and there was some sense of the camaraderie of that really helps you through a lot of the bad times, I think, and the really naff, horrible gigs. And when you're on your own, when you have those naff, horrible gigs, it really,
it must be a soul destroyer.
It is quite.
And you're right about the promotions side, but I mean, Judy and I have to promote programmes and books and stuff, and I find it more exhausting, and I really do find it more exhausting than doing a solid week back-to-back programme recording. It's knackering.
But I also think because I used to always liken it to being a footballer for Man United's my team, and I used to think it's like playing for Man United, but you never get to play. You're on the bench. It's kind of, you know, you can see the field, you've got your boots on, but you never get to play. And that's what promotion always seemed to me to be, because it wasn't about.
What you do.
Don't ask me to sing now, by the way, but it wasn't about singing. It was about, you know,
talking about yourself. It was, same questions.
And I mean, I went to some pretty amazing places as well, because. You know, well, we were talking before in the bar.
You were saying you went like to Chile and
I'm
South
going
America
soon, and I went to Japan quite a few times as well.
Because your fan base is still very much sort of alive and kicking.
Yeah, bits and bobs, and I think that's what's brilliant about the internet. I think a lot of music and a lot of any kind of creative art form, whatever, can now be seen by a different generation that probably would have never been. A lot of 80s stuff right now is. It's pretty hip, really. I think you see it in fashion, you see it in everything. You see it in movies and all kinds of stuff.
Were you? And I've listened to you giving some interviews as you've been going around the circuit for this tour, and I've got the impression that initially with this rickrolling phenomenon, you know, this joke email that people were getting an opening, thinking it was something else, and then it's you singing, "We're going to give you up." That you were a bit embarrassed by it at first, and I couldn't understand why. I mean, why would you be embarrassed by being celebrated like that?
Because it's a little bit. I never ever used to watch my own videos anyway, but to see them 20 years later is even harder. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know.
And it's kind of, it's a little bit like when people look back at their photo albums before the age of digital, obviously. But you know what I mean? And you're kind of thinking, did I really wear that? You know what I mean? And mine, thankfully, on the one end, but on the other hand, it's a bit scary.
Well, I can
Mine's
identify...
right there for the public to see whenever they want. You know what I mean?
I can identify with that. I feel quite sad when I look at my photo albums.
Right,
I don't like doing it. And
Right.
we've got a few home videos that we took when the kids were smaller,
Yeah.
and I have to leave the room. It just makes me feel sad.
Yeah.
Not because I think I look a dork, which I'm sure I do, but it just makes me feel sad.
I just
Right.
watched the first series of Shameless looking back then.
I live in
Thought it was pretty good.
Listen, give it 20 years.
Well, listen, you might want to borrow that and
You're a
hide behind
United
that.
fan.
I'm a Man City fan.
Okay, we're
Oh, you're
in
Manchester
for...
Oh, hang on a
Sorry.
minute. Hold on, we're having
City.
a football conversation.
Yeah, Man City.
He's Manchester City.
Oh.
Which team was Eric Cantona in then? Because you've just made a...
Man United.
It was United, wasn't
Yeah.
it? And you've just
You're in a
made
film.
You've made a
Yeah, looking for Eric. That's
Ken
Hang on
Loach
a
film.
minute, how can you do that?
I had to wear a Man United shirt.
And you thought it was tough playing a gay boy when you were 17.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it never lets up.
That is a
That's
challenge.
fantastic.
Yeah, no, that was, yeah.
Well, we must, before we go any further, if you don't mind, want to see a montage.
That's why I gave him the
of
cushion.
your
So I'm
earlier
going to hide
hits.
You are
behind this
behind
for a
that.
while,
Okay.
and then you can...
Rickroll, if you please.
Okay, here we go.
Here we go.
Retro.
You see,
That is the
we're
80s.
loving it. He's
That is
loving
the
it.
80s.
That's
It's
what's really funny.
fantastic.
My daughter, who is 17, she's studying textiles and loves the idea of working in fashion and stuff. And so I'm probably a little bit more aware of some of the trends around
And
the
the
bit now
look.
because of her, obviously.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's incredible to see that there's so much of the influence today is from that period, from
Absolutely.
the 80s and stuff. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
You should
I
have
must
said,
say,
Dad, what do you think?
I'm going to be honest. I've actually thought about asking her to make me something. To be honest,
Very nice.
yeah,
That's a good
I
idea.
think, yeah.
I must say, I heard one of our male researchers, young researchers, saying earlier, looking at those tapes as they were going through, he said, he always had really fit women, didn't he? Really fit women in his videos.
Yeah, well, hand selected.
As it were.